that actually combine automation, human decision, and AI. Thank you, Rahit. So I think we can go next to the next slide to meet our experienced speakers. I'm happy to host our speakers, Munish, Naren, and Raina. What's the plan for today? We are looking at about 60 minutes. This will be a hands-on session, so get ready to dive in. After the event, you'll be able to get the documentation. The next slide, just for them to see exactly what we have prepared for them. Um, so, as I said, you'll be able to get the documentation to start your own coded app. Don't worry because you'll also receive the recording and all the relevant links. Because it's a live session, I see it as a great opportunity to get answers to your questions. So please use the chat box during the session. We'll also have a live Q&A at the end. And I really hope you enjoy the session and join us for the future ones. But until then, I'll pass the mic to Monish because he has a lot of things to show you today.
Sounds good. So the next 60 minutes, like Roxana said, we thought of four topics that we wanted to cover. Let me just bring up my slide and then make sure. Okay, so there are four main topics that we want to cover in the next 60 minutes. Number one being give an intro to coded apps because I'm sure it's brand new for most of you on this call. Then talk about our TypeScript SDK, which is the heart of coded apps and how coded apps is being enabled. And then we will actually do a live build where we'll start from scratch. We'll pick a scenario. We will walk you through steps of how to build your first coded app, and actually Rana will show it live on how you build it and finally deploy and package and publish within UiPath. And then we'll give you some material on pointing to how to get started and start building your first coded app. With that, let's get started. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We have an amazing team of UiPathers on the call, so they'll be able to answer, and I'll also jump in for questions. So before we get into coded apps, like when you think of the UiPath platform, we offer a lot of capabilities for you to automate and orchestrate your business processes. We obviously started with RPA, which has been our bread and butter. We have expanded it from RPA to API-based automation. Then we had deterministic automation powered by our robots. Now we have our AI agents that are powered through our agent builder or coded agents that you can bring up. And also we support external agents. So we have evolved from deterministic to agentic, and we support AI agents today. We initially had document understanding, which is our core IXP offering, where you could extract documents and convert unstructured data into structure. We initially started off with DU, and now we have IXP, which is powered by LLMs, and you can actually go parse like 500-page documents to extract data out of it. Now, AI agents, RPA, API, IXP, they're great for task automation. But if you want to orchestrate and automate your end-to-end business processes, we have Maestro, which is our orchestration platform, where you can model these processes using BPMN and have AI agents, RPA, IXP, and API workflows as tasks and automate and orchestrate the end-to-end process. We also have case management now, where you can automate and orchestrate more of a case-driven workflow using Maestro case management. And then in the next month or so, we are launching something called as Flow, which would be more of a dev experience where you can go model and orchestrate those processes using VS Code extensions, etc. Now, no matter what you automate or which scenario you pick, whether it is AI agents, RPA, IXP, or Maestro itself, there is always a human in the loop experience that you would need to build, right? If it is an AI agent, you might need an escalation-based experience. If it is an IXP, you need human validation that is required. And then if it is Maestro, you definitely need experiences on top of it where you're able to visualize dashboards, see all your processes in one place, actually dive deeper into a process and see the details. So the user experiences become very critical no matter what scenario you pick, right? So the idea is for you to build those modern, snappy, high fidelity user experiences. We always had a low code solutions, but now we have a pro code solution in form of coded apps, and that is where we are going. And especially with coding agents and everything evolving around coding agents, we feel coded apps can very well gel with coding agents and work together so that you're able to build these modern and agent native user experiences. Now, the way to think about coded apps is equivalence of front end and back end, where your front end is the app UI on the left, which you might write code for, or the coding agent might have generated, and then you're reviewing it. And then on the right side is the backend piece, which is the UiPath platform, where you would have gone and built your automations or orchestrations, whether it is in Maestro, agents, RPA, adding data to data fabric entities, or using IXP like we talked about. Now, at the center is our UiPath SDK, which basically helps the app UI talk to the UiPath platform and bring the right data and also perform actions on top of the UiPath platform. So the TypeScript SDK is where we expose all our APIs of UiPath platform and services, and we have made effort and work to make sure that it is coding agent accessible, so that coding agents, when once you give the SDK to coding agents, they're able to understand the nuances of all the different APIs. We have skills.md files that we have added specifically for coding agents so that they're able to debug, create, and also publish. The app UI works with UiPath Auth. So if you have users that have already been added as part of your SSO, it'll automatically work and the sign-in would be similar. And then we are also offering widgets SDK, which will give a lot of common UI controls that you'll be able to use as you go and build your app UI. But overall, this is how you should think of the architecture, where you have the app UI on the left, which is the JS or TS code that you would write or the coding agent would write. And then on the right side is the backend piece, which is UiPath platform. And then the TypeScript SDK is the one in the middle, which will interact and make sure all these interactions are working between the app UI and UiPath platform. So we have a quick poll that you will see on Zoom. Rohit, let me know once you. So the key question that we want to understand from you is like, what are the coding agents that you primarily use today, so that we keep improving those experiences and make it tailored, and make sure that we have a rich capability in terms of skills.md files or .md files that we just talked about. So a lot of Cloud Code users. We also see Codex. We see some bit of GitHub Copilot. Awesome. We'll give it another maybe a minute for people to respond, but I can see that Cloud Code is winning at the race.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I think we're good. I think it's pretty evident. We were hoping for the same number also. I think Cloud Code in general has become the most used coding agent. We use it very aggressively within UiPath. And we've made sure that we have fine-tuned our SDK towards Cloud Code, and you'll actually see it as part of our build session today. Okay, so we talked about how the UiPath platform is built, and then how you can have modern experiences through coded apps now. We also talked about the TypeScript SDK. Now let's talk about use cases and what we are seeing customers build. So there are three primary use cases that we have seen customers build, and they kind of align very well with our UiPath platform. The first one is action center tasks. This is primarily for agent escalation or IXP validation that you would build something like this, where you need a human in the loop to come in, actually see what happened, and then approve so that the process continues. The second is more of what we call as process apps. These are like internal facing enterprise grade process apps that you would want to enable for your users, where you have one 360-degree single pane of glass view to understand all your processes across your organization, understand where that process is, drill into a particular process, and exactly see the details for it. And finally, we have conversational agents, which is a pretty big use case in the agents world, where you'll be able to build rich conversational agent experiences using the TypeScript SDK and coded apps. So let's dive more into each of them. So action center tasks are very good for those human in the loop escalations or human in the loop approvals, where a workflow needs to stop for a human in the loop input, and based on the input, the workflow continues. So this is one such.
Monish, sorry to interrupt. Can you turn up your microphone? I saw some comments here.
Oh, okay. Is it
A bit.
better, more closer to the microphone now?
Okay. Thank you. Let us know if it's better like this.
Okay, so the first use case is action apps for those human in the loop tasks which require escalation or human input for the workflow to continue. So we've seen a lot of customers build action center tasks using a TypeScript SDK, and this can be obviously deployed in an orchestrator folder, and it'll show up in Action Center, but the experience that it would show within Action Center is much more snappy and modern compared to what we offer in our low-code Action Center tasks. Now, the second use case is process apps. This is where I was talking about there are different kinds of internal processes that you would want to automate with Maestro, and process apps becomes the UI layer on top of it, where you are able to provide a holistic business dashboard, KPI view for your business users to understand how the processes are doing, and then also look into each of the details for each process. So here are a few examples that we're seeing. So this is an invoice processing coded process app where you can drill into a particular invoice, see how it is doing. You can actually look at the Maestro process that is getting executed behind the scene. And then because there are agents within this process, you'll be able to exactly see what the agent replies are, what are the different documents that are being passed for each invoice, and also the status of each of those invoices. This is another example in form of claims processing, where you have a claims officer who typically comes in to look at all the claims that are associated to them. The backend for this is Maestro case management, where each claim becomes a case, and then you are able to view what the agent output was, where the particular process is, and then you're also able to see the rich execution trail that we offer as part of Maestro. Here's another example of internal investigation. Typically, in organizations where you need to run internal investigations, you're able to build process apps for each investigation, go into the details to see what the agent did, the documents that got submitted, and finally take action so that the process moves along. So the other example that I want to talk about is coded conversational agents. So here you can see that there is a conversational agent that is powered via the SDK, which can be embedded in any of the app. So you can see that this freight solution where it's built on top of Maestro, but there's a conversational agent that you can actually interact with so that it's able to pull the right data from the UiPath platform and then surface it back to the user. Again, this conversational agent is built using our low-code agent builder, and then we are using the SDK to actually embed that conversational agent into the custom app that the customer has. So we talked about all three use cases. We have a couple of few questions that we want to run by you, but those were the three primary use cases that we talked about. One is the action center task, the second is process apps, and the third is conversational agents that are all possible now with the UiPath TypeScript SDK and coded apps. Rohit, are you sending the next poll? I can see. So the first question is primarily around use cases. What are the use cases that you are most excited about and want to build after the session, or you have problems within your organizations that you want to go solve for initially? And then there are a few other questions on what exactly, from a enablement material, what are you looking for so that we can provide it and make sure you guys um, are able to build your first coded app. It's like it's a tight race between process apps and action apps, like I can see. I think for the enablement ones, it's pretty interesting. So I think at the end we can chat more about it. We do have some starter templates that we provide, and then we are also working on few videos with different coding agents so that you can follow them. And then we are also working on academy courses. But I definitely want to double click on like deployment and security clarity that you guys are looking for. And then for the final question, um, complexity compared to low code, yeah, I definitely agree to that. Maintainability and scalability is another one. And then we're also seeing few people talk about learning curve. Okay, cool. While the poll is going on, I'll stop sharing. So now we'll actually get into the build. So Rena will actually walk us through building our first coded app, and she'll walk through the entire process. And then I'll be available. We can jam on questions over chat. Go ahead, Rena, all yours.
Uh, Thanks, Manish. Let me share my screen. Okay, so now as we have seen what all capabilities we can build using this coded application feature, now I'll deep dive into how you can get started with building your own coded app. So as Manish mentioned, the core path of this is our UiPath TypeScript SDK. And this is our repository, which is public and it's open source. Uh, and here, if you see, we have a detailed documentation on how you can get started, right? So there are a couple of things that you need to do before you get started by building your own application. So as you see in this page, first, since you are coding your application, you need a Node project, Node install on your system, then you need npm install on your system and the basic TypeScript, right? And once you have that prerequisite set up in your system, then you start your project, and in your project app, whatever you are coding, you can do npm install UiPath TypeScript, then this SDK will be available in your code. So just to give an overview of idea what SDK is, it basically provides you all of the UiPath services that we have to basically connect with those services, fetch the data, or perform any actions, right? So we have a variety of capabilities, as Manish mentioned. We have conversational agents, we have a bunch of orchestrator assets, buckets, capabilities. We have Maestro processes, queues, tasks, right? So we'll see them when we start coding. But what this SDK provides is the out of the box methods. So all you need to do in your code, just write these methods, and it will fetch all the data or perform any actions on behalf, right? So now with the help of AI assisted coding, and as I have mentioned, all of you are using Claude Code or anti-gravity codex, right? So that's how we'll get started. And our documentation is pretty much detailed. So any AI assisted coding assistant is very much capable of understanding the documentation, whatever capabilities you want to build. So let me just deep dive into the code. I have an IDE and I'm using VS Code. And as you mentioned, I've also used Cloud Code. For this demo purpose, this is a blank project and we'll start from scratch. I have added a .cloud folder and we have a bunch of skills. So as Manish mentioned, we have skills capabilities upcoming, and you will soon hear from UiPath an official announcement on these skills, which you can use to build your application. So there are a bunch of skills available. One is to create an app, second to debug, and then to deploy an app. So I'll give you a quick overview of what skills are. Agent skills have now become a pretty common convention across whatever ID you are using, right? Whether it's Claude Code or Codex, each and every of these IDEs supports these agent skills. So all you need to do is in your IDE, just create a folder. Let's suppose for cursor, you build cursor folder and skills, and then you add your MD files, right? So we have provided these skills out of the box, which you can install in your application and then get started. So this is a blank project, and now let's deep dive into building. Before building, let's decide what we want to build. So as Manish mentioned, and as the poll also suggests, the process app is one of the most highly common use case. So let's try to build the same. If you see, I have in my organization, I have this process. This is a common loan origination process, which essentially takes a bunch of applications, performs some validations, some checks, and it also has few human in the loop escalation tasks. And then once all these process stages are completed, then it's essentially one application gets completed, right? So that's what we'll build. As a business user, what I want is a business friendly use case, user interface as well, where I can monitor all my applications for this particular process. I can see on what stage this process is. And from the same app, I would want to perform an action if it is pending on human in the loop task. So from the same app, I should be able to assign it to someone else from my team and maybe assign or reject that task and keep that process alive. And that process should move forward without me going back to this Maestro or Action Center, right? So this is what we'll build. And on the top of it, I also have a bunch of conversational agents deployed in my UiPath agents. So we'll also try to integrate these conversational agent in my application that we are going to code. So let's deep dive in and just start prompting. So whatever I have told you, that this is what I've prompted as well, that use the create app skill to build a process management app, which will be a management app for a Maestro process named this. So I have provided for what Maestro process I want to build this process app, and I have provided what UI interface it should look like. I provided that it should feel like email, Outlook, inbox style, and to show the applications on the left, maybe 30% of the screen, and on the right will show the application data. For the selected application on the left will show the loan process for each application and whatever the process data for that applicant is. And I've also prompted that also have a button to start a process or add a new application. And once that's done, show the relevant message. And on the top of it, I've mentioned like detect if the application is pending on human in the loop task. If it is, then show the banner and like show all the task name, task ID, whatever, if show the accept reject button in the app itself. And then so that we should be able to, assign or perform any actions from the app itself. And the conversational agent as well, I added that also on the bottom right of the screen, have a chat icon. And on clicking, it should let me converse with my UiPath conversational agents available. So if you see, it has started and it has asked me a few questions. So since I have not talked about actually what it takes to build the coded application, but through this coded agent, we'll also see how we can build. So it's asking me in what UiPath environment I should build. Let me see that. And it's asking me what is the UiPath organization name. For now, let me just type that organization name and the tenant which I want to build. Now, if you see, it's asking me the client ID. So most of you were figuring out or worrying about how the authentication will look like, how this whole mechanism, which user should see, what all processes, what actions they should see, right? So that's where client ID or external app comes in. So let us go to our admin tab. So for using an SDK and perform any actions through SDK, for authentication, all you need is to create an external application. So when you go to admin tab, we have an external application section. On click to it, you will see OAuth app section and PAT and app registration. For us, it's a OAuth app because what we want essentially user to come in, sign in, and then I want that user logged in, right? Not anybody else. Only that user logged in session should be retrieved. So that's what our OAuth apps is, right? So we'll start by creating a external application. And for SDK to use, we need a non-confidential application because it's a front-end application. And for front-end, we don't want client ID, client secret kind of a headache to get on us. And we don't want to store that secret at all. So that's where non-confidential comes in. So what we'll do is, let me just provide the name. And you see there are scopes here. Now, what these scopes are? These are basically for this particular application, which will help me to authenticate the user, whichever user is logged in my app. And if you see, there are a bunch of APIs or resources which I can provide access to. So ideally, how you can figure it out on what scopes you need is there is a OAuth apps, OAuth scopes section in our documentation where on each method, like we have provided, if you're using assets and what all method you are using, you need to add these scopes. So for us, we don't know yet which methods we are using, but our agent is intelligent enough in identify what methods it will be using. So it has already identified based on my prompt that what all it's need, and it has provided me that these all the scopes I would need in my application. So let us go and provide the same. So first is the Maestro, which is this scope. Then it added the OR dot execution, whatever agent suggested, and what is it's essentially doing is fetching from the documentation and all of our skills.md. So that's the same I'm doing and providing it to my application. OR.jobs and OR.tasks is for orchestrator. Now, since we are also using conversational agent, this is the conversational agent scopes is needed. And let me see if anything is missed. Traces.api is also needed. Let's go and add that scope as well. Now we are done with all the scopes that are required. So this will essentially help us to authenticate user and get that user token so that user can see all the API calls. Now you see the redirect URL. Now what this redirect URL means, whenever the user comes on our application, they will hit sign in. And once our identity provider signed in that user, it basically suggests where identity should redirect back, right? So this is essentially our app URL. So since right now we are building in our IDE and we'll run it locally, for locally, it has said that this will be a redirect URL because this is where our app will be running for local development. I'll add the same and I'll get my client ID. So if you see, this is just the client ID and no secret. So there is no harm in terms of sharing or considering about security because this is just a client ID. User will only go in the browser and hit sign in. Unless it hit sign in, it won't see any of the calls or any of the data, right? So now I'll let the agent build whatever the prompt we have provided. And in the meanwhile, I can provide you on how essentially you build your application, right? So as we have seen, the first thing is to create an external app. This we have already built, and what agent is internally doing is actually writing code. So for writing code, what it's doing is all it's doing is import UiPath from UiPath core. It's just the TypeScript SDK package which we have installed. So you are wondering, I have not installed it, and this agent is actually running the script which is also installing the same, right? So it installed that package as well. So once that package install in your code, all you need to do is write this. Whatever the configuration we have provided, the org name, the tenant name, the client ID, redirect URI, and scopes. This is all agent is writing in the code, and then it's doing SDK.initialize. So what SDK.initialize means, this is the essentially authentication code where whenever this is triggered, this method is triggered, it is actually when user will log in and identity will authenticate based on the scopes that we have provided to our external app, and user will authenticate that yes, I'm logged in, and will provide all the credentials to sign in and perform the SSO. Now, this is one way to authenticate, and for front-end application, this is the only way you should, authenticate. Now, once the authentication is done, you can go ahead and start writing your code, right? So for us, if you see, we are going to use Process App, and for that we'll be using Maestro processes. And here are a bunch of methods available. So as a developer, I don't need to worry about what all API I should use. For example, I want to get all my process instances, right? So as a developer, there are many API guides available for each and every services. For Maestro, you will see an API guide. For Orchestrator, you will see a different API guide required. So this SDK kind of bundles everything and combines each and everything into methods. So you don't need to worry about what API to call, what parameters to pass, how the response should look like, how I should parse it, what token I should provide, etc. All this abstraction is kind of built in the methods that these SDKs expose, right? So if you see here, we have cancel, we have get all, get incidents, get execution history, get variables. Basically, any data we want to fetch, or even we want to perform any actions, say pause a process instance or resume. So this is for the Maestro, and we have capabilities across almost all services, and we are continuously expanding. So if you see, another use case is data fabric, where entities is basically data fabric, and where you can insert records, get records, update records, download attachment, whatever as per your use case, you can use these methods in your code. And agentic IDs are really very helpful in performing those things, right? So right now, how we are building is actually using the skills, but there are many ways you can build, right? You can just start coding on your own, but since with these Cloud Code and other AI assisted coding, building front-end applications is literally very easy, and it builds kind of a very beautiful UI and understand a lot of context, right? So we have also provided a section of, say, vibe coding, and what are the best practices when you are using with agents, is this SDK with agents, whether your AI assisted IDs, or let's say you are using Rebuild or Lovable, right? So one way is, once you install in your code, it install that package, and we can just drag and drop that package to our agentic chat, and we can just start prompting that, hey, I want to build this is my use case, and just refer this SDK to get any UiPath related data, whatever, based on your use case, that the same that we have provided today, right? And the other one is the context. So one way is this LLM full context.txt. So LLMs.txt is also getting very popular these days, which basically lets you to get the full context of this whole documentation. So this is just the full context for LLM. You can just copy paste and create your own MD file, and based on this, you can start prompting. And another one is, let's say, I'll go to entities, or let me go to the process instance, you will see a copy page. So you can copy this page as a markdown for LLMs, copy this and paste in your IDEs, and it should be able to get the relevant data and start writing. Right. So these are the few ways you can start with AI assisted coding or IDs. Right now, this is one way if you want to build everything from scratch and you want your own customization, everything. We have also provided some sample applications, as Manish mentioned. So on our TypeScript repo itself, you will see a samples folder where we have a couple of sample apps ready, right? So one is Process App and another is Conversational Agent app. So this Process App is also somewhat similar, where you will see you will be able to manage your Maestro processes. So this will give you a starter kind of pack template, which you can just clone and get started with this and start building on the top of it. Maybe customize the logo or just lay out in whatever UI manner you want, right? So all you need to do is there's a proper README setup, and you can just follow a quick instruction to set this process app with your own data. What all you would need to do is just install this in your terminal, and then just create an external app on your own. Once you have that external app ready in your environment variables, you will just type those data, right, for your org tenant, whatever the scopes you will require. And then once you're done, you just do npm install and npm run dev, and then you will be able to get a fully functional app, process app, running on your system. So this is for the process app, and similarly we have for conversational agents. Now, once you clone this, you can start building on the top of it, change logo, build, add more functionalities as per your use case, right? So I'll check with what it has done till yet, and we'll see. So if you see, it has all this was just what we have started with, and it has created the whole loan management app. So if you see, yeah, so it has already installed our package. We can just confirm, yeah, here it our UiPath TypeScript SDK package. And from the prompt, it is intelligent enough to understand the context, right? So if we see our env, it has provided whatever the org name, tenant, and the client ID we have provided, which we have created. It has added those in our code. And then you will see the relative components as well. The main file, the components, everything it has built. So I'll let the agent running. We'll see what is the status. Yeah, so if you see, it has first started this setup script. It has set up the project, writing some hooks. So if you see, use polling, as it has already identified that I'm using a Maestro process, and I would want the auto refresh logic. So all these capabilities are built in to our skills. So it has just getting that context from the skills and started writing code. I think that there is some network. Okay, let it build, and it's now writing the application details file, the HITL banner, and everything, whatever we have prompted. It's taking some time, more than expected, but I'll let this agent build and we'll walk you through that. So as a part of skills, if you see, we have a create app. And once, let's suppose you are facing some issues, right? And you don't know, you're not very much aware of how the TypeScript types should work, or how should I code. That's where debug app comes in, and you are facing issues, maybe with authentication or whatever, right? So that's where debug app skill will comes in. You can just type debug app. So all these skills are actually available in the commands manner, whatever ID you are using. Since I'm using Cloud Code, so I should be able to see here. So debug app is the one, and then this create app, right? So these are the application, the commands, which when we add skills to our repo, it automatically is available for coded agents to use, right? So now, as a part of this whole coded app story, you might be wondering, let's suppose I'll have my process app or whatever coded app all set up running on my local host. Now, how will I go from my IDE to UiPath, right? And that's where deployment comes in. So what UiPath is also providing is the capability out of the box to deploy your coded applications into UiPath. So as of today, let me go here. So as of today, whatever automations you are using, right? How you deploy, you go to orchestrator and you should see in your automations, whether it's a low code app, whether it's an RPA process, whether it's a Maestro process, right? You should be able to see in the orchestrator. And that's what we'll also do for our coded app as well. Let it build. It's taking more than expected, but yeah. Okay. So now, yeah, if you see, it's also performing some validations without me doing that, right? So it has already, it's running like npm run build. It's all the code is written, but it's trying to build that application as well. Now, if you see, it has found some errors, just one used and variable, whatever. So it's trying to fix those as well without me going to uh, localhost 5173 and check for the whatever are the errors as well. And I'll again go and come here and prompt, right? So that's also capability in this agentic loop, which is there. So I'll let it run for a while. I think, yeah, it's build already succeeded with 0 errors. Now we should be able to, yeah, okay, now it has finally done. Now we should be able to see our app up and running. Okay, yeah. So now, as you can see, we have sign in with UiPath, and that's what we have asked agent to do because it's using SDK. So that's what it will create. Now, if you see, it has some errors as well. Okay, let me. That's where you can use debug skill, or you can check it from your own. But let me, for the sake of it, Oh, I think I have changed something in my application. Let me just go there. So all these errors also, I'll talk you about how you can fix that. But let me just run debug app of skill as well. So let me go to, okay, it's loading. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Raina does it. If folks have any questions, feel free to
Sure.
drop them. We can keep answering them.
Yeah, this, let me just cross check. Okay, so if you see this, I'm not doing anything. And this agent has already started a browser to debug. So let me just open this side by side so that we can actually see what it's trying to do. It is navigating to this page. It see that, yeah, there is an error. And now it will try to debug what's going on. So these are authentication error, and it has identified that it said invalid request, invalid redirect URI. So we might have provided the invalid redirect URI here in our application. So let this agent fix the same.
This is all possible because of the debug skills that we have added. So because there are instructions mentioned in the debug skill, that's why the agent is performing those steps.
Okay. Meanwhile, it run. I'll also show you how, as a human, we can debug. Right. So if you see on our application, on a documentation, there is a FAQ section where you can see, yeah, this is authentication error is one of the most common scenarios that you will run into. And let me just open this here. So let me just start by clearing cache. It's already cleared. And now let's log. Yeah. So if you see here, this is what documentation also provided, and we can perform the same. So we just need to copy the code and decode it. And it says that invalid redirect URI for this client ID. So we'll check in our code first uh, what redirect URI it has used. Yeah, so let me just check. That's the redirect URI. And in our application, okay, I think, yeah. So if you see, it has already added this slash. I think agent already identified that slash was the issue, and it's trying to debug the same. So let me just run it. Yeah. Now, so agent was intelligent enough to identify the issue, and now I am able to log in, and it's loading the processes for me. Is agent performing anything? Okay, it's still trying to, but yeah, the process is running. And as we have mentioned in our prompt, that on the left, I should see all of my applications for this Maestro process. And on clicking on a particular application or a process instance, I should be able to see the loan details. So let's suppose this is one of my process instance which is running, and I can see the application data in my application itself, like what is the brokerage content validation data, which Maestro process already has given me as a form of variables. So I can see other details like what is the down payment for this applicant, other evaluation history, etc. Right? Now, let me try to also check if any of the instances pending on human in the loop task so that we can perform actions from there. Yeah, so if you see, it says that it's pending human in the loop review, and it's currently unassigned. So right from here, I should be able to assign. Right, so it's loading the users also, which are in my org. Let me select a user. Let me find. Yeah, I'll assign it to myself. Yeah, so now task is assigned to me. It's again loading, and it's said that assigned to Rena. Now, right from here, I can, based on the data, I can accept or reject. Let me accept right from here. Now the task has approved. Now let us go to Maestro to see if this has, okay, it has logged out. Let me just go here. Into our process instances, and this was our all. I'll check for the, yeah. So if you see here, the process has proceeded from the escalation which was pending in the human in the loop task, and the process has proceeded to the next stage. Right. So now we have our application up and running. We also have asked agent to add the conversational agent, and that's what it has added. And as you can see, whatever the conversation agent I had in my org and tenant, it has added here. And now I can start chatting. Hey, what can you do for me? So I have a bunch of conversational agents. This is one, I'm not sure what it is. Okay, this is the weather assistant conversation agent. Similarly, I can use a loan expert agent for this particular use case, and then start conversing here, right? So now we have everything up and running. Our process app is built and it's perfectly fine. Now I want to deploy this application, right? So how you can go from your IDE to deployment. That's where we also have skill, but I'll not go via skills, so that you can see what it takes to deploy an application. So all you need to do is, there is a CLI tool that we provide, and there are a bunch of CLI commands that you need to run. So we'll start with UiPath auth, and I'll provide my environment. So this is to authenticate. Okay, it has started here. Let me show. So if you see, it has started a browser authentication, so that I can authenticate, and it has loaded all the tenant from that particular staging. Or let me deploy it to default tenant, and let me deploy it to my folder. Now, once this is done, all we need to do is UiPath pack dist. So dist is a build folder which our front-end application has built. Oh, it has not built. So let me go to, we are in the wrong directory. Let me go to here, quickly authenticate. I'll just quickly select, and I'll do UiPath pack dist. So it is asking me the app name. I will provide, let's suppose, and once so what it does, it has created a new get package, and now all I need to do is UiPath publish. So pack, so build your application, then pack, publish, and then deploy. So it has published, and now the next step is UiPath deploy. So only 3 commands you need to deploy your application, and now it has provided me the app URL. Let us go to our IDE, Chrome. Yeah, now you can see my application is up and running on staging on UiPath, and now I should be able to share this with other users and perform actions, right? As I mentioned, you can just cross-verify wherever in Orchestrator, wherever folder that I have selected during commands. As I selected my workspace in automations, in apps, I should be able to see my dev dives demo. Yeah, this is the app, and I can run it from here. So now this becomes an app resource, and now you can use this app in any of your automation. Let's suppose if you are building a coded action app or a action app scenario, then you can plug in that coded action app in your agentic workflows, any escalation scenarios, etc. So that's all I have. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out, uh, post your questions in the chat.
Thanks, Rana. Any questions that folks in the chat?
Rohit, can you share the last slide with the link for GitHub and dev dives?
Yes. So
exactly this one. And then we'll take the live Q&A. So in the meantime, I'm gonna share I'm gonna share in the chat because it's easier. I'm gonna share your link to actually get started building your first coded app, and then we invite you to the next dev dive when you can learn to build reliable enterprise conversational agents. But now that we are here, please use this time for our live questions.
feel free to unmute and ask any questions. We have like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Hi, Ravin this side.
Hi, Ravin. Yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, to be very honest, the demo which I seen so far, even though quite sophisticated and something I understood, something I couldn't. But one question I have, that when we run all these script, I see one Maestro, one process map is created, but it's quite labyrinth and sophisticated as well. So that Maestro process is created by the same script coded agent, or we created it before?
Yeah, so the best way to think about it is you go into Maestro, map your process, and add the implementation details. So you've already done it, Raveen. And then now on top of the process, because you want to give visibility to your business users, you're building a coded app on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? We'll obviously have the recording so that you guys can go back and revisit it. We've tried to compress all three parts of it. One is creating a coded app, then obviously debugging it, and then deploying it also. So it might have been too much, but it gives you the end-to-end picture of what is possible in the UiPath platform. And then at the end, you saw that Reina actually hosted the app on top of UiPath platform. So you get all the RBAC, auth, and security and governance capabilities that UiPath platform offers.
There's one question on the chat.
Yeah,
I
I can take that up.
Good. Right.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. I think like you said, the Python SDK is primarily used for agents, more like coded agents. So if you have a Python code which can, talk to other Llama index or other custom logic that you have, you can build that, package that, and run that as a coded agent. And that's where primarily the Python SDK comes. So it's similar to coded apps, where coded apps is very front end heavy. That's where the TypeScript SDK is used for. The Python SDK is primarily for the coded agent scenario.
Thank you.
Jacob's question: can you publish deploy not through UiPath but rather on on-prem web server? Yes, of course, yes, you can. You can self-host your own website wherever you want as well. The reason why we've enabled hosting is not every customer would be able to self-host. And that's why we are offering hosting. But yes, all you need to do is just punch in your URL in the external app, and that's it. Nothing else. I think Monish touched upon this as well. I think we have a bunch of academy courses and everything lined up for the whole coded app. And of course, we'll send out the recording and material that was shown along with this session.
Okay. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn, reach out for questions. We're always available. We want you guys to build your coded apps and become successful. So we're all here.
Many thanks.
Thank you all. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, Sarda.